Hello and welcome to the another video on workflow and tips. In today's session, I'm going to discuss on one-click meshing and analysis. So what's one-click meshing and analysis about? And as the name suggests, it's truly a one-click analysis. As you import the model, you can get started with the analysis. Let's look at in detail what one-click meshing and analysis is all about. With one click, you can now automatically mesh the model, launch the specified analysis together, and save a time in pre-processing the model. Boundary conditions are now applied to the imported model. New meshing algorithms apply an appropriate global edge length, and it takes care well of the small features, small holes that are in your model. Now let's look at how it is different than the conventional workflow. In a conventional workflow, you import the model, you run the mesh statistics, you try to fix those errors, and then you set up the boundary conditions and get started with the analysis. With the one-click meshing and analysis, you import the model without mesh, and you set up the minimal boundary conditions and start the analysis. Here, the meshing algorithm in the background takes care of the meshing, fixing the error. But of course, you need to have a clean CAD model. When I say clean, it should have a minimal surface defect or no surface defects to get started with it. Now look at how it is helping our designers, engineers who are altogether new to the Moldflow to shorten the learning curve and to reduce their efforts on learning the pre-processing. Very much they can get started and check their results very quickly. For the experienced users, launch the analysis conveniently by the end of his workday and check the results tomorrow. Many times, they have to give some information onto the request for the code from the sales team. Seamlessly workflow with the geometry optimizations. If you get a chance, have a look at my earlier video on geometry optimization. It works seamlessly onto the CAD, that is native CAD models, IGS and STL. Supports all mesh types. Of course, for the mid plane, doesn't support for the CAD bodies. Dual domain and 3D works pretty much fine with the CAD bodies. Support most conventional analysis type, that is fill pack and warp analysis. You can, when you launch the analysis, you can close the synergy or close the client. It works very fine with the cloud, with the API and the batch queue supports. Now let's have a quick look at the demonstration how this workflow. I'm going to import a model and I have an options like in 3D, midplane or dual domain. I'm going to start with the dual domain and I make sure that I'm using Autodesk Moldflow design link. Imported the model. So what are the minimal boundary conditions would be needed? The minimal boundary conditions to get started is the gate location where I'm going to start the injection of the polymer. Second most thing is selection of the material. I'm going to select an generic ABS material over here. And the analysis sequence. As I said that it supports most conventional analysis sequence. For this case, I'm going to start with the fill pack warp analysis. Now you have options to go and set up the boundary conditions in terms of process parameters. But if you're in a hurry and ready to go home, probably I would just skip this and get started. Let the algorithm take care of that. And I'm going to launch the analysis. In launching the analysis, I'm going to use the cloud option over here. But pretty much you have an options whether to run it on the cloud or run it onto the local solve. I'm ready to launch the analysis. As I said that you have an options to launch it on the local hardware or analyze in the cloud. I'm going to, for the time being, I'm going to launch it on a local hardware. So let's get started with the analysis. And as you can see that now it has completed the meshing with using the automatic algorithm in the background, and it gets started with the analysis, and analysis has begun over here. That completes the analysis, and we can review the results. More page. So this combination works perfectly fine when you're working with the different permutations and combinations with the geometry, and particularly when you want to make some changes in the geometry and try running it. I think one click meshing and analysis works perfectly fine for the preliminary type of work. I hope you like the video, and send your comments and what you like to hear more on awareness and tips video. Thank you for your time.